Well, Tony Wright is a journalist who interviewed Donald Mackay just days before he disappeared. He's followed the story ever since and he's now the national editor of The Age newspaper. He joins me from Canberra. Tony Wright, do you think doubling this reward to $200,000 is going to loosen anybody's lips after all this time?
Kim, I think you've used exactly the right words there, loosening lips. These have been very tight lips for a very, very long time, and this is really a last-ditch effort. The interesting thing about this reward is it's not for evidence leading to the conviction for murder of anyone. It is simply for evidence leading to the location of the remains of Donald Mackay, which means clearly that the police have pretty much given up hope of ever charging anyone with his murder. Anyway, the person who they believe pulled the trigger on Donald Mackay, James Frederick Bazley, who still lives in Melbourne, is now 86, and he's never said that he would be prepared to talk about location. In fact, he's always said that it wasn't him, it was a corrupt former New South Wales policeman by the name of Fred Cray, who's been dead for a long time. There's not a lot of mystery about what happened here. The truth is, and various inquiries have declared it, that Donald Mackay was killed because the Calabrian Mafia based in Griffith felt that he had dobbed on them and was a problem for them, and the police have always believed that they paid James Frederick Bazley to do precisely that. It's the great mystery and the terrible mystery for the family, the remaining 4 children. Mrs. Mackay has been dead for some years, is that they don't want to know what happened to his father.
Well,
their father.
The police are saying that they received some anonymous tips about the possible whereabouts of Donald Mackay's body, but they're saying they're still checking out the validity of those tips. They're not certainly going anywhere to try to search for his remains at this stage. Are you surprised, though, that some of these sort of anonymous tips have come forward, 35 years after?
These anonymous tips have been coming for many years, ever since, and they've been of all sorts. The only really serious information that most police have been operating upon is the idea that Donald Mackay was dumped in the Murray River or thereabouts on the Victorian-New South Wales border the night that he was assassinated. Now, where precisely that might have been, whether any remains would be there still, is the real question. And I think the police are actually looking for bullets which might still be left with remains that would tie the thing all together.
As you say, the doubling of this reward seems to be designed to get some information about the whereabouts of Donald Mackay's remains. But does this once again stir up more anguish for the Mackay family and indeed the people of Griffith?
Well, of course it does. I don't think it stirs up more anguish for the family. That anguish is everlasting. It's been 35 years now, and I don't think the family holds out all that much hope that anything will be found. For the people of Griffith, it has long been a matter of great anxiety because the vast majority of people in Griffith and the vast majority of those of Calabrian extract who live in Griffith are honest, law-abiding, hard-working people. But within that is, and has been for a long time, a group of thugs and criminals who have operated to their own rules and have killed people who have got in their way. Donald Mackay got in their way, he told me, because he didn't believed that the local police could be trusted. They were corrupt, and in fact it was discovered that a number of them were corrupt. So he went direct to the drug squad in Sydney, who used Donald Mackay's furniture shop as their secret headquarters while they busted a huge crop at Collyamberley, about 65 kilometres from Griffith, on the 10th of November 1975, a $60 million crop, the biggest ever in Australia. It would have been headlines all across the country, except that Gough Whitlam was sacked the next day. When that matter came to trial, one of the drug squad detectives was ordered to produce in evidence his diary, which included the fact that Donald Mackay had been in secret cohorts with the drug squad. From that moment, he believed that his life was endangered, and as it turned out, it was.
He was. It's an enduring riddle. Tony Wright in Canberra, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure, Kim.